Hey guys, this is Jen from ScanNCut Canvas and SCAL Help on Facebook. I am going to be putting vinyl on wood, or what my mom and dad call wood. I do believe this is pieces from their wood floor they had put down in their kitchen. I'm going to be using the DX. Okay, so as I was saying, I'm going to use the DX. I already have the design on the screen. See if we can bring it in here. Ooh. So there's the design as it sits right now on the screen. Trying to get this thing to focus in a little better. Or this little holder. It's going to be bouncy. I'm not sure I like this thing. Okay. But I'm going to put the vinyl down, and this is my Arlon. It is not Oracal. I do not use Oracal. I also have the machine that does not like to load the mats. But they just did an update, and I've noticed that when it goes to load the mats, it is much slower. So the hand feeding that I showed you all in the one video about how to fix-ish the mats, it really helps you to be able to load it that way. Understand, the reason that I put fix-ish is because really the only way that it can be truly fixed is if Brother does that. Okay? So all the other things that people do, it's pretty much just a band-aid. Okay? Alright. So let's come back out here. Alright, so let's hit the mat load, and you see how slow that is? Okay. Oops, I wasn't ready. Let's try this again. Quit talking and get to work, Jen. Okay, come on. Start to move. There we go. See how nice and slowly that takes it in? So much easier to load a mat that will not load. And I know that this is one that does not load. But anyways, the pressure is set by the half cut. So the half cut pressure is turned on. Okay. I do have my speed set to A1. Okay. And now it just has 2 minutes. It's finishing. You can, sometimes you'll hear a little click. And what that is, that's a little black tab that sticks up on that side. Sometimes it can bend the corner of your mat. So don't panic if you hear that happen. But we're going to wait and see how well this cuts. I'll find my pick. And then we'll work on some weeding techniques because lots of people have had questions about this. I picked this lower outer corner to test. And then we'll see. Good. So it comes nice and easy away. You don't ever want to pull. If you have to pull and tug, do not eject that mat. Send it back through for another cut. If you're working on your CM machines, so the originals or the ScanNCut 2s, slightly deepen that blade and then send it through for another cut. With these, it's hard because it's all that auto pressure. And when you're utilizing vinyl, okay? So just send it through for another cut and see if it'll grab that for you. Oh, did you hear it? That was that little black tab hitting the corner of my mat. Alright, so it's stopped cutting. I'm going to test right in here. Good, that comes cleanly away too. Okay, and here, awesome. So I know that this mat is safe to eject. Oh God, Poobie. She just fell off of her little cat perch, which is right above my machine. Yeah. Couldn't see me explaining that one to my dealer. Alright, so we'll eject our mat here. And you can see this little corner of my mat is rather chewed up. That little black tab that's back there can really chew up a corner of your mat. Alright, so let's put this away. We'll shove that to the side, and we'll work on weeding our vinyl. Now this one is going to have quite a bit more waste in it possibly, but I'll talk about utilizing weeding boxes and how to create files with weeding boxes that are directly around what you are cutting out. I've also heard people talk about if their media sticks too much to their mat and they can't get it off. Try to use the roll, okay, method. So this is what I call the roll method. Okay, oops, sorry. Just let that sucker fly. Alright, so there. Roll it and pop it right on off of there. That was a freshly zigged mat, so it did get a wee bit on the sticky side. Okay, so here's my board, here is my image, okay, or my file. Okay, I'm just inspecting it to make sure it cut like I wanted it to. Alright, so now what I do is I will come over here, I will grab the topmost portion, okay, and start to pull it back. Oh, it's not going to weed itself, so I'm going to kind of help it. This is what I've noticed with the DX. It seems like it cuts all the way through, but it just doesn't quite get a clean enough cut like my CM does, like my 650s, my 250, and my 100. It takes a lot longer to weed cutting with my DX, because with my 650 I could tell you I'd have probably already had this weeded. Okay, so just take your time. Sometimes if you have a really intricate file, I will tell you to utilize 2 Pokey Tools and patience. Okay, so you just want to tease that vinyl away. If you cannot cut your file apart and you don't use weeding boxes, because I don't like to use them, but I will show you how to use them at the end of the video here. Okay. Just take your scissors and trim so that you are not catching any of your letters in your waste. And I have so much scrap vinyl that I chose to not keep any of this because I really can't get any use out of it. Okay. So normally it does not take this long to weed things. And I will show you the difference because I will cut another image on my 650. Okay, but what you really want to do is pull that directly back onto itself. Okay, so take your vinyl and pull it directly back onto itself, just like I'm doing here. You don't want to pull straight up like this, so bring it back right onto itself and then gently tease it away. Make sure there's nothing there. Okay. Alright. Now, your 2 Pokey Tools. If you have something that is really fine and intricate, here. I have tweezers and my pick. Okay. So one will stabilize as the other one weeds. Okay, so I can just hold down with the tweezers and pull with the pick. And then just a whole lot of patience if this is something that is really detailed. I think Dyson needs to develop a vacuum cleaner that'll weed things for us. Oh my God, wouldn't that be amazing? Like you could push a button or tag your weeding stuff somehow so that your weed vacuum would only pick up that stuff. I'm sure that's something that could be done. Okay, so this is how you go through and do this. And I'm telling you what, I do not like cutting vinyl on the DX. It takes way too long to weed. I wish there was a way to adjust the blade so that it did not cut all the way through, utilizing the normal pressure and not having to use a half cut. It's another bad thing about the auto blade. The machine has so much potential, but for people that are brand new to Brother and get it and think, yeah, this is so awesome, if they only knew how that previous versions worked. Because man, I'm telling you what, my 650, you grab a corner, pull it right back onto itself, and everything lays there. I do not have to touch it with this. You know what, instead of just saying it, I'm just going to show you. We're going to go ahead and go through how the 650 will cut and weed. Okay? Because I know a lot of people will say something. It's like, stop. I don't know. I want to see it. So let's see it. Okay, okay. Well, let's check. Our cut pressure, cut speed, I'm going to bump our pressure right up to our -1, and our speed is a 1. So let's hit cut. Let me take a look at where my blade depth is. I also, with this, unscrew my cap always, blow it out, blow my blade off, take a peek at my blade. That looks good. So I'm going to set it down. I only measure what my blade depth is by eye, but this is where you will do a test cut. I will tell you at a pressure of -1, you will want to stop that blade as soon as you see it barely poking out of that holder. Stop and do a test cut. That will tell you if that is close. Okay, don't assume that that is where your blade depth will be. As soon as your image is done cutting, you are going to want to test thick. If it looks good, then eject it. If it doesn't, slightly deepen that blade and send it back through. Okay, so we're cutting and we'll come back when she's done. Okay, and we're done. I couldn't help it. I always mess with my machines. Those of you that know in class, as it cuts, I'll actually start weeding. I have a bad habit of doing that. But I did weed as it was cutting to make sure that it was okay. So I know that it was a good clean cut. Also remember that this is my machine that likes to cut heavy in the lower right and then lighter up in here, so I have to kind of set things a little differently. But I also know that here won't ever cut through, but down here sometimes it does. Okay, so I just understand that my machine does that and I work with it accordingly. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this ready to be weeded. Okay, so yes, right down here it did start to kind of cut through the backing paper. Not too bad. But let's see about the pick and roll. Okay. Now this is, remember, this is cut with the 650. Let's see if I can get my fingers to cooperate. Okay. So I'm just rolling it directly back onto itself. When I get to a good spot, if I can tear it, I'll tear it. Okay, if I'm not using weeding boxes, because this entire thing is cut so that I don't have to hand place. Now look, see, so this is again just being pulled directly back onto itself. Okay, I may get into a little bit of a booger here because of how the ScanNCut, because it's the one that cuts kind of odd. Nope, this is coming off just fine too. Oops. What about our little friend here in the middle? Now, you see what I was talking about between utilizing that DX and having to sit there and fuss with the words or the letters and the vinyl, or using my 650, and this goes with any of the CM machines, not just the 650. This is true for my 100 and my 250. It will be true for your 100s, your 250s, your 350s, your 550s, your 300s, your 700s, your 900s, your 110s, etc. Okay, so you can take your vinyl, cut it with the low pressure. If you have a machine that does the half cuts, that's why I have not fixed this machine, because I want one that still does it, because people still have problems with it. So I do need a machine that still functions this way, so that I can help people that have these problems. You can just set it up so that, wait, I know there's a little door. So here's a little door and a tiny little doorknob. Look, that doorknob stayed right where it's supposed to. You can come through here and just knock some serious vinyl out. Now, brother, please fix how that vinyl half cup setting works. It needs to be ever so slightly deeper, that blade, okay? Because that is where the problem is. That blade does not get quite deep enough to allow the easy vinyl release like is captured here with our CMs. That is totally what the entire problem is. That blade is not quite deep enough. Little bits of the adhesive are still attached. That's why that vinyl has such a hesitation when it goes to be weeded away. And it should not take us that long to weed a design. It makes it miserable and it makes it not fun. And this is a head-to-head. Okay, so there, this was cut and weeded, and I would still be working on this one. So basically the time it took me to do this, it took me to get this whole thing fully completed, okay, from the 650. Alright, so now let's finish this. That one I cut up there that still needs to be weeded, I'll just give that to my mom and let her play with it. She says she always wants to do what I do but isn't brave enough. I don't know why she says that. She's crazy. She crazy. Okay. So go get yourself, after you get your stuff cut and weeded, Okay, now if you do like weeding boxes, what that is you're just putting like a box around it, and we're going to actually take a look at that. So put your transfer tape down. Okay, cover it, and you're going to use a transfer tape that is low tack, which means it's not really sticky. You just want it sticky enough to be able to pick up your vinyl, but it has to be low enough sticky that it releases your vinyl too, okay? Because you don't want it sticking on for dear life. That's not good. Okay, so I use low tack. Some people will tell you to use what's that stuff called? Crap. Contact paper. You can use that. I don't recommend it though if you do decals on cars, because I noticed it will leave a residue, and even though it looks like it's completely clear of residue, when it gets dirty, that will really attract the dirt. But it is totally up to you. You can also use like painter's tape, stuff like that. Whatever you find that works. Just test it before you go slapping it down on something that's really important, okay? Because once you get your vinyl stuck to it, if it's too high of a tack, oh good God, good luck getting it off. It's a nightmare. This has gotten dirty because when I was moving all my stuff, I dropped it on the floor. So I should probably just get a new piece, but I don't like wasting stuff. Like that paint pouring, oh my God. Had someone ask me to do a video. Oh, you want to talk about give this girl heart failure? Oh. Nope, I don't think I can do. Why? Because it wastes so much paint. Oh. That's something I'd need like a prescription for something before I could do that. Or unless somebody donated like a whole bunch of paint to me. Oh my gosh. But then I'd still want to save it. Yeah, my transfer tape is just not liking me right now. So I'll come back when I have this all transferred. Okay, so I went ahead and I actually changed that transfer tape because nothing wanted to stick to that. So I changed tapes. So far, so good. And you just, again, peel the transfer tape right directly back onto itself. Slowly. Because what happens is if you rip that transfer tape back and the letter sticks, you're just going to shred that letter. And you don't want to do that, because then you're going to have to recut. Nobody wants to recut. Alright, and I see that spot there. That's a piece that was still stuck, so I went ahead and picked it up. So now I'm going to hand place it and hopefully get this down before he starts pounding again. Nope, there he goes. I think he listens for me to start talking, and he takes that hammer out there. Okay, so there you go. It's all finished. Now I'm going to take you and show you how to place weeding boxes, and then if I have a really intense design that I actually want to weed because I want to save the vinyl, I will show you how I apply my weeding boxes. Alright, understand that this is Arlon 5000. This is the outdoor vinyl. This is placed on a wood piece that has already been sealed. So I do not put anything over this vinyl. This vinyl does not need to be sealed because it is an outdoor vinyl. Outdoor vinyl is made for all sorts of different weather. Wet weather, cold weather, anything that can be thrown at it in the outdoor environment, intense heat, sunlight, all of that. That's what this vinyl is designed for, and it is designed to last 7 to 10 years. The neon colors, that is significantly decreased to like 3 to 5 years, okay? So please do not think you need to seal your vinyl. Okay, why would you want to seal the vinyl? Okay, to protect it? You don't have to worry about that. Are you going to sit here and rub your hand over it like this the entire time? If that's the case, if that is what you are going to do with it, then what you need to do is use your vinyl for a stencil and paint it. Okay, but just note that if you are putting something like this outside and you are worried about it, you know, degrading in the weather, just seal whatever the backing is. So if it's a piece of wood, something like that, seal that first, then apply your vinyl, because the vinyl is made to be outdoors, okay? And again, if it's being in the house, you don't have to worry about it, all right? If it's a sign that you're going to hang up, okay, no little fingers or anything like that is going to have access to it, all right? And if you, you know, say you're going to dust it, just take a little cloth lightly over it and dust it every once in a blue moon, because face it, a surface that's straight up and down doesn't draw dust a lot of times, all right? But you don't have to worry. You do not have to seal this. I also understand that ORACAL does have a difficult time sticking to anything most times, so utilize heat from like a heat gun to help activate the ORACAL when you are applying it. So in that when I have the heat transfer, or not heat transfer, sorry, when I have the transfer tape, oops, gosh, everything's sticking together. When I have the transfer tape down here, okay, as I start to peel it off, I will use the heat gun. If I am using ORACAL or anything like that, which I haven't done in a very, very long time, but that will assist you with placing the ORACAL. And if you get it like this, just take that heat gun over it. Quick shots, okay? So I would take heat gun and this just to push it down, okay? And this is just a scraper, okay? You can use a hard or soft scraper. Soft scrapers work best when working with vinyl, because a hard scraper can actually cause you to press into the vinyl, leaving a mark, okay, or actually cause it to rip and tear, okay? So utilize the yellow ones that look like this, okay? If you have them, utilize those. All right, now let's move on to the file. Okay guys, here we are in ScanCut. Now understand, ScanCut, the regular versions of 4 and 5 do not have an any option where you can go in and add a weighting box. ScanCut Pro does. So we're tackling the version that does not have a weighting box. So I'll show you how to add them. There is already a video for this, but if you don't have it, that's fine. Or if you haven't seen it, I mean. So we're going to come in here, and we are just going to start adding shapes. So we'll add, I can do either a full square or full rectangle here, or I can do it per word, okay? So it's totally up to you. Don't be tricked by the fact that that has color or has a fill, okay? So you can come over here and do that. That is exactly what's going to happen. Let's do our preview. There we go. You see the cut around that. Now I'm going to have to lift that a little bit so that it doesn't touch that, just to make sure, okay? But then we're also going to have to move our file. Let's actually do that now. Let's move it down a little bit. Okay. Now there it lies well within. Perfect. So you can either do a single box per word, or you can stretch it out, stretch it down, okay? Understand that if you do that, you're going to have waste, okay? So if you do that there and there, you are still going to have basically an entire wasted sheet of vinyl. So to do weighting boxes with something like this, your best bet is to do it per word. Now, if you want to get really stingy with it, let me show you how to create one to go around, let's say, the word U. Okay, so you can create this little guy. Oops. Sorry, forgot that was sticking up there. You can create this little guy like this. Then you can bring in this little fella here. Bring this one on over. Make it overlap just a wee bit. And bring it down. Okay. And then do a path and a union. Okay. So now let's check our preview. And now you are trimming right around that entire word. Okay, so it's a bit more time consuming, but how I have this file laid out, if I was to do it across the whole thing, you see I would pretty much be doing the entire page and it would be useless. Okay, I wouldn't be saving any vinyl. Okay, also note that you may have to decrease the size of your file. Okay, so you may have to decrease it. Make sure your file is either unioned or grouped. And then go about doing that, okay, if you want to use boxes. Now, the way that I do it is pictured right here, okay? If I have a file that I want to actually place weeding boxes, like if I'm using white glitter HTV, anybody that knows me knows I hate white glitter and weeding it. It's very difficult. But what I will do is create a weeding box that looks exactly like this. Okay? So what happens is, there's my weeding boxes, and you want to talk about being placed right around your design? That is directly around my design. Okay? This is going to save me maximum vinyl. Okay? And it also gives me 2 cut lines if I am having a great amount of difficulty finding my file. Okay, when I sidelight it, especially with white glitter vinyl, and I take my cocoa powder because that's how I do it, and I'm trying to find it, this gives me actually 2 cut excuse me, 2 cut lines to be able to find that. I don't think my pneumonia is quite gone. But right here, so I take my side light and I lay it to the side and I put my little bit of cocoa powder on there and I grind it in. Those 2 lines will show up perfectly. Okay, so then I just weed away this outside line and then there is my file. Okay, but that is how I do my weeding boxes, and let me show you how I get to it. Okay, so I'm going to highlight, make sure that you decrease the size. So with all of these, you may have to decrease the size of your file if you cannot move them and squish them closer together. Okay, so this is just taking it into account that you cannot move pieces of your file. Okay, heck, if I could stuff all these words together into the 6x6 square, you know I would have done that. But for this video, I chose not to do that. Okay. So I'm going to come up here to Effects, Shadow Layer, type in 0.1, Enter. This is what it gives me. I'm going to click Blackout Shadow, Enter. Oh, it gives me that beautiful blacked out backing. Okay, so it cuts all that out for me. Alright, these are just suggestions for you though. Okay, let's undo this. Hi, Bribby. Effects, Shadow Layer. You could come in here if you couldn't see that and enter 0.15. Enter. It's going to give you a thicker distance. Okay, so let's click OK. Let's come and check our preview. That's going to give you a bit of a thicker line. Alright, you don't have to worry about layers or trimming anything out, because as this sets and cuts, it's going to cut right through that. So it's not laying upon itself. So you don't have to worry about that. Okay, guys? Right now, this is one single layer as it sets because the machine is going to come in. It's going to see that. It's going to cut it. Then it's going to cut the gray piece. All right, so there's no layers present currently as that sits on the mat. It's amazing how these machines work and read programs. Right now, that is going to cut just like that and give you one even layer. However, if I move this off, it is now two separate layers. Okay. Just something to think about. Doesn't really have anything to do with this video or anything like that. I just like to try to give you as much education in my videos as I can. Okay, so there's two ways to do it there. One that lies right next to your file. With this one, you see I am over the edges, so I would need to highlight all of this, shrink it down. Okay, so there it is. Then I could center and center. Okay. And then there is also this one here that you could do the boxes around. Okay. And again, with the boxes, don't worry that they show that they're solid. To get rid of that, just go to the fill area. And leave a little bit extra. Don't run it right up to the edges like this. You might find that they're going to chop off a letter. Just come over here. Oops, dang nabbit. Come over here to color and select none. And there you go. When you preview, it just shows a cut line. That's all you want is that single cut line. Alright guys? In Canvas Online, let's try that now. Okay, here is Canvas Online. Alright. Please understand that because of the limited tools that we have with the online version, utilizing the offline version is actually a lot easier for you, and I will show you why after we're done here. Of course, you can just use the regular old boxes, okay? Come on. Oh, here we go. Okay, so you can just take your box, bring it in. If you want to okay, so if you want to bring this little box down here, so if you want to make a box that's sized for this, and I'm not going to show you the whole one, I just want to get a simple for instance done here. So you want to make a shaped box for places. Okay, you're going to want to kind of piece it and get it shaped like this. And because with Canvas, unlike with SureCut's lot, as soon as I come in here and I go to select just those two, I automatically pick up the outside. I need to bring this out here and weld it out here. Okay, so anything that you make or want to weld to have as your weeding bug, and there is no reason that that should be doing that. Oh wait, yes it is, because I just clicked on subtract. Because I'm not paying attention. I have about 50,000 things going on right now. Okay, but there, because if you try to do this as it sits on here, of course it's going to completely remove that, etc. Okay, and anything else, if your file was not made inside of Canvas, if it's a bought-in file or something else other than not being made inside, you can have missing insides of your letters, totally disappearing parts of your file, etc. So just take that, place it, make sure it's sized okay, then take it out here and weld it. Okay. Then you can also utilize the offset, but understand it is much more difficult in here because you don't have access to the layers. Okay, so you do not have access to the layer feature. So hang on, So if you're not quite quick enough and you don't catch that to the front and you don't bring it to the front right away, or first thing, you can get into trouble that way. Now, I just used 0.08, which is smaller than 0.1. So pay attention here, because when we go to the offline version, I'm going to use 0.1, which is actually bigger. I'm going to do the exact same technique. So let's do the weld. Let's take a look. And I wish they had directional arrows that just let you move it so far. Okay, so there's that. It's a lot easier if you catch that right away as soon as you add that offset. So you just applied that offset and it's sitting there looking all funky. Don't touch anything, okay? Come to edit and click this, bring to front. That will bring the full Word file right here. Bring them, oops, nope. See what I mean? Gets all crazy on you. It will bring this main file directly to the top so that you can grab it and move it. If not, you're going to be grabbing all of those pieces and it will drive you batty. Okay? Alright, so now let's go to the offline version. Okay, right here is my offline version. Same file. Let's see here. Down here, I think, yep. Down here you have weeding box. Understand. Oops, hang on. I need to pop that open so you could see all the stuff. Jeez. This file was created in ScanNCut a lot, and it was saved as an FCM, which means everything is grouped together. Okay. So when I come in here to, oops. It doesn't really give me what I need, okay? So let's see this. Specify the spacing. Okay, so we'll oops. Okay, so there's one weeding box. Oh, poo. It's going to cut into my E. Can't have that. Okay? But let's just say this whole entire thing, it did not allow me to ungroup it or break it apart, etc. It was stuck together. The weeding box pretty much becomes unusable, okay? If you were to try to use it, it would just put a gigantic box around that whole entire thing. So you can't use that. Then you come in here and you use this, okay? You can start doing it, and it's the exact same way as it was online, okay? However, it gets much easier on you if you have a hard time with the layers and what lies where, if you're not comfortable with turning the color on, which is what I highly recommend that you do, okay? Get in here and turn your fill on. Make it some sort of color. It doesn't matter what it is. Just don't leave it blank. Okay? Don't stroke out either when you see these holes in here. That's nothing to worry about. All right? You know that when you turn it off, the holes are there, then that means it's going to be cut. Alright, this is just something that happens within Canvas. I don't know why, but if you go to merge that, or you go to weld things, or weld is the major one, that the holes disappear, and it just shouldn't happen. This is one of the things. This is what happens, okay? But you can add color, and that will help you to see where things lie. If they're on the top, if they're on the bottom, etc. Okay, so don't be afraid to use that color to your advantage. Alright, so one of the things, let's go back here. Let's go to our offset. Remember with our 0.08, that looked pretty thick, huh? Now let's add 0.10. That switched back to the online version. Okay, so now how, oh my God, what's where? I don't know. What do I do? I can't tell what's what or what lies where. Well, let's back up here. Okay, let's leave this in color. And it is very important that I come up here to my layer and I make sure that it is grouped. Okay, I need this whole entire file to be grouped so that when I come in here and I add my offset, that I can grab it easily from our layer tab. Okay, so let's do a 0.01. And what this is doing is this is giving me that really close weeding box all around our edges. It wants to go back. Okay, so now I see where that's at. All right. Now I'm going to come over here to my layer tab and I'm going to search for my pink layers. Ooh, there they all are. Oh, look, it's up here in the group. So I can select that. Okay, now I'm going to right click on that, arrange, bring to the front. Okay, and it is going to move that on the mat and also in this list to the top. Okay, so that I know if I click on this top piece, it's going to take the whole thing out of my way. Now I'm going to highlight everything. Ooh, not that file over there. Okay, and you come back here to my 3 dots, and I'm going to click weld. Not subtract, Jen. Click weld. And wait. And wait. And wait some more. I'll come back when it's done. Yay! Ooh, it's done. It all welded up nicely for me. Oops. Okay, so now I just position it over that. Alright, so there we go. Now I can come back in here and I can turn the color off and then the holes will come back into my file. And everything looks perfect. Now I can highlight everything. I can actually layer, group this, and make sure everything lays within that red line, and I can increase the size, ooh, not that much, so that I'm getting a maximum size file. Okay? Alright guys, that is how you go about creating weeding boxes in SureCuts-A-Lot 4 and 5 and Canvas online and offline. If you have any questions whatsoever, you can find me over at ScanNCut, Canvas, and SCAL Help on Facebook. Thanks a lot, guys.